Well, I'm at the Your Gym Bag with Sandy Pembroke.
Your gym bag.
Your Gym Bag.
Your gym bag.
Your.
Like yours, Fred.
Your. Are you making fun of my accent?
No. I was just saying it's your gym bag. It's for you, the customer.
Okay, Your Gym Bag.
Yes.
May I continue? It's going to be a long day. With Sandy Pembroke, one of the owners. Sarah, you got it. Just, she's the other owner. Oh my God, she looks pissed at me.
Are we allowed to say pissed on camera?
Pissed.
Pissed.
Okay. But Sandy here has a phenomenal background, and we're going to kind of dig into his background. Actually, first, let me tell you how I met Sandy. And I walk into the gym. I was away for a while. I walk into the gym, and I hear somebody that's just loud and annoying. Like, I'm being honest. And then all of a sudden, the next time I see him is at one of the boxing matches. And you were really not cornering one of the fighters.
No, technically I wasn't allowed to.
You weren't allowed to. But the ref actually had to stop the fight a couple of times to tell you to be quiet.
Yep.
So again, who's this loud, annoying guy? So I had to meet him because, the key thing that I realized was not only that he was just loud, but whatever he did, he had a lot of passion. And that's the key piece. And then I find out you were a professional fighter yourself.
Yes.
How many fights have you had in your career?
I guess to date, 114.
114 fights.
Yep.
That's a lot of fights.
How many were with Sarah?
How many were with Sarah?
Well, no, the ones I don't get paid for, I don't count.
So what kind of a mindset does it take, not to just be a fighter, but to train for so many years? And you actually won some titles. Professional fighter, phenomenal business individual. You've owned a couple of businesses throughout the years. And also you have your PhD in business.
Well, I didn't complete the PhD, but I taught at university for several years.
You taught university. You have the X-ring. I want to talk about the X-ring later as well.
Excellent.
Right. Beautiful. So what I want to understand is what kind of a mindset does it really take to succeed in all the things that you've succeeded throughout the years?
I hate to use things like catchphrases or anything, but from the sports background, I think it just really helped me to be goal-oriented.
If you were to tell one tidbit to sit there and say, this is, if there's anything you're going to do, make sure you always do this in order to be a successful fighter. And we're not going to just talk about fighting today as well. Can you even do that?
You know what? As you're asking that question, I'm boiling it down in my head. And I would say probably the most important thing, off the cuff, absolutely honestly off the cuff here, would be allowing to flow through negative impact, negative criticism, negative things that happen. You just said right there, the first time you got hit, it changed your world, and maybe you didn't want to be there. I watched your fight, and you did fantastically after
Thank
that.
you.
So you let it go. Yeah. You got hit, you dealt with it, and you moved forward. The goal is not to get hit when you're in a fighting sport, but it's going to happen. And I think really, I hate to use a cliche again, but I'm going to use a lot of them today, rolling with the punches, whether it's business, a bad relationship, that sort of stuff. Stuff's going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. You need to be able to deal with that and move on quickly and with a positive focus going forward. You can't be, I got hit and I got hit again and start getting down on yourself. You need to get going forward.
Right, so it doesn't make a difference what you do. You could be reading these books all the time, or like myself, speak about this to public all the time, but if you're not aware of it at that moment in time, it hounds you.
As soon as you were talking about that in fighting, I remember when I first got into retail, going from a business consulting background into a retail store. I was 30 years old when I first walked onto a retail store for the first time in my life as a consultant, but really managing a store and having no idea what was going on. There was, the manager and the 16-year-old kid knew way more than I did, and I kind of had to pretend. But as I got through the months, I actually got slapped around by the owners of those companies, brought me aside and said, Sandy, remember when you were a consultant and you would, write big reports and hand them off and tell people how to do their marketing, that kind of stuff? You're kind of doing that now. And what's happening is, and he used a phrase, he said, paralysis by analysis. Yeah. You're spending way too much time looking and thinking and talking about what you're going to do. You need to go do it. Yeah. And I was like, it was just... It's so enlightening. I mean, I didn't enjoy that meeting. I was being told that I was doing a very bad job.
And try to figure out the most perfect way possible without implementing. We might sit there and I got to read a little bit more. I got to learn a little bit more. But in the end, if you don't just step out and just do it, that's the best way to learn. I remember my first presentation ever that I did. I never knew at that point in time I was going to be a presenter. And I froze. It was supposed to be a 45 minutes to an hour presentation. It lasted 7 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, I froze. And I practiced like 9 months for that presentation. But then I had a decision to make that day, that the next morning, if I did not get on stage, even for a couple of seconds, even just introduce somebody, that fear would have overpowered me so much that I probably would have never spoke again.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. So, right, again, cliche, right back on the horse.
You have to.
Or hair of the dog, or whatever it was.
And I bet you the obstacles that you hit, it's going to be the same obstacles that I'm going to hit or anybody else hits, but 95% of us actually quit at some point in time.
Okay.
And that was a great example of how you never quit till the end. You actually lost that fight, from what I remember.
Badly.
Badly, yeah. But you never quit.
Yeah.
And that's the key thing. Like, what is it about a mind that sits there and says, no matter what, I'm never going to quit? You make me hot, sorry.
I'm gonna let that slide. That fight was a hugely humbling experience. I'd come off winning a world title a couple of years before.
Okay.
And again, I've never developed an ego about this, but there's certain times, I mean, we'll talk about a fight where I went in very overconfident.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
I already did, so that's all right.
Done.
He's absolutely right, because I never knew about your university and your education and your teaching in universities.
Yep.
Never knew about your world title.
Yep.
You never bragged about it.
Yep.
Right, but you were always there from day one, trying to help anybody in the gym or just conversations. You were always trying to help people with their mindset, and that's actually what attracted me to you, to sit there and say, "There's something about this guy that's more than the normal person out there." See, a lot of people sit there. The more they babble about how good they are, it's obvious how little they really know.
Yeah.
Right, that's the key piece.
You
walk
Thank
the
you very much.
yeah.
That's a very nice compliment.
Can we hug now?
Yeah, we can hug. Can we
we
be
hug?
on the camera?
We can hug at the
Thanks,
camera.
Fred. That's very touching, because it is a way that I do try to travel through life. There's no such thing as perfect. You don't really get that perfect golf shot, or you don't get to hit the 3-pointer. Even when you win a fight, you still get beat up. So,
But you were telling me that Sarah's perfect, right?
she's pretty
yeah.
close. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty close.
Can I give him bonus points? Can I give him a bonus?
She'll cook you a meal again, Fred.
Oh my God, this girl can cook. Let me tell you. Oh.
For anyone
She
in
can
Canada, if you're looking to suck up to Fred Sarkari, he is very
Food.
much. I found out recently the way to his heart is definitely through his stomach.
Oh yeah, when he opens his lunch that Sarah cooks for him every day, as soon as he opens it, and I know Sarah made that, I'm telling you, I don't even ask.
So this really is a tell-all conversation. So now I look like a chauvinist, and I'm spoiled, and
Just be real, don't worry.
so she does what she does, and I happen to enjoy it. There's no requirements there. It's so anyway. We were kind of talking about rolling with punches, and I'm getting off.
Oh yeah,
topic
your
a lot
fight, your fight where you never quit.
Oh, I thought I was doing a good job of avoiding telling that
Yeah,
story.
no, I want to
So
hear
anyway,
that one.
so-
I love that.
So I turned down a really lucrative contract in Japan for kickboxing.
Yeah, you're supposed to be. You got a contract for K1, right?
Yeah. For those of you that know kickboxing out there, that's good. For the rest of you, it's kind of the NHL of kickboxing. And I turned that down to open some stores. It was the most adult decision of my
Yeah.
life. The only one that I clearly remember going, I don't know what to do here. Every kid wants to grow up and get paid to play for a living, and this was.
But when we had that conversation about that, you talked about you knew your long-term priorities, and that's how you made that decision.
That was exactly right.
Right, and that's a key piece. When we make decisions, we have to see if it links to our long-term priorities. But for most people, they can't do that because they have no idea what their long-term priorities is. We don't take the time to figure that out. Be it in your relationship, business, being an athlete, or trying to be healthy, so forth. We have to understand why we do what we do. Like why open up a store, or why become a professional athlete, or why become a personal trainer, or why become a realtor. It doesn't make a difference what it is, but understand why we do it. Because then when we have to make a decision, we don't get blinded by, wow, this looks so pretty, I should do this.
Yeah.
No, this is the right thing to do. It's almost like my sister. My sister, when she became a doctor, she's phenomenal. When she became a doctor...
You're the dark sheep in the family, right?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I am darker than her. Was that meant to be like a color joke?
Definitely not. I don't do off-color jokes.
On camera.
Definitely not.
No, I have the greatest sister, and I have the greatest niece and nephew. Everybody knows I talk about them all the time.
All your
But,
books are dedicated to them.
Yeah, my new book is actually dedicated to them as well, and the third one is dedicated to them. So.
You have a third book too?
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that yet.
We'll come back.
Yes. But when my sister actually graduated, she was the youngest doctor to graduate in Ontario at that point in time.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And she was so focused with what she wanted in the long term that every time she had to make a decision, even the smallest thing like in university, well, should I go to this party? And she would actually sit there and say, if I went to this party, how is it going to affect what I want in the long term? Is this the right time to do this?
Wow.
Yeah. But
That's
that's
focus.
how, exactly. And she's always been focused.
Wow.
She's cut and dry. It's amazing. Right? But what about actual nutrition? Since you have such a strong background in nutrition, is taking care of our health from the inside out important when we want to run a successful business or be an athlete? Like, how does that affect our bodies, our minds?
Absolutely. The connection is 100%. Emotional stability in a relationship to productive hours throughout the day to just good positive brain chemistry and mood and that sort of thing. All of it. I can't even begin to talk about it.
You know, I believe health is extremely important, and we just take it for granted. Oh, well, I'll just keep ticking. Well, just like anything else, we have to feed it something. Electricity, the right electricity, whatever it might be, it has to be fed properly to be effective.
You can only live on borrowed energy for so long. You got to get X number of hours of sleep.
Borrowed
You
energy.
got to have X number of hours of really mental relaxation, just some playtime, some community time, some relationship time, and that sort of stuff.
And I always wondered what makes somebody say, no matter what, I'm not going to quit. And what makes somebody sit there and say, I'm walking away from this. Because that's one of the things with my niece and nephew. I always say, it doesn't matter what you want to do, even if you know you're going to fail at it, don't quit.
So I took a fight on a week and a half's notice. I took this fight, and Nick was the 5-time Canadian champion in this form of kickboxing, Muay Thai or K1 rules, this sort of stuff. And Nick literally kicked right through my legs and kicked me off my feet. And I don't know if you can see on camera, but I've got some big legs.
There was one time you said the last time he knocked you down, you were thinking something. You had mentioned, I can't remember what it was, but you still got up with a smile on your face and let's do it again.
Giving up in anything is disrespectful to all the people in your life.
Absolutely.
I don't know, is that a good enough answer?
I think that's
for
a
that?
great answer, because sometimes we just keep thinking about us, and it is important. Do everything you do for yourself, but at the same time, we create this community in our life with friends, family, where we have to understand when we give up on ourselves, we're giving up on them as well.
Yeah.
And it's amazing the impact we make in people's lives when they actually sit there and say, well, if Sandy could do that, I can do this. Mm-hmm. Right? And when we understand the impact we actually make in people's lives that way, now you sit there and say, well, if I quit right now, I'm not just quitting on myself.
Yeah. The worst thing you could ever say about a fighter is they quit on the stool. That means
Really?
between rounds, right there, when you had that moment
Really?
in the first round
Yeah.
of your fight, between then and your second round, the broken leg, you went through all that mental damage and everything as an animal inside of you saying, okay, I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to beat this woolly mammoth up across the ring to eat it or to run away from it. I can just run away. Fight or flight syndrome.
Yeah.
You chose to fight. And that's all I care about when I see someone I've coached, someone I've worked with, a friend, a training partner, and you've seen it with me and you in a round. You've been dead tired and put your hands down and, a couple times it's not life or death. We're just training. It's a couple of friends. And I'm like, no, Fred, round's not over.
Yeah.
And you suck it up and you do it.
What are the key things you look for when you coach somebody?
I'm not interested in that aspect of my life coaching people that aren't serious about it. If they say they're going to do it, I want them to do it. And I have all the time in the world for someone that says they'll do it.
Yeah.
And I believe that they're going to do it.
Yeah, and that's the same thing for myself. It's, our time is valuable.
Yes.
Right. I'd rather be spending time with my loved ones, the kids, friends, family, than try to convince somebody what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Right? You're not. You choose to think that way.
Absolutely.
You make that decision to sit there and say, no matter what, I'm going to keep going. Period. I was the shyest kid possible.
Yeah, you
like, I
mentioned that.
never even talked. I couldn't have a one-on-one conversation with people. I could never look people in the eye.
Now you speak professionally and motivate people for a living.
And let me tell you, that was a long road.
It's a nice
long journey. It was a great journey. It was a great journey. And I feel fortunate. A lot of people sit there. It's not that people are born presenters and speakers, but just part of some of their personality and how they were brought up, they're comfortable being on stage. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody to this day that's more petrified of speaking than I was. To this day, I've never met somebody. Right? So it was quite the journey for me, and to find that deep passion inside of why I wanted to do this. But as a child, it's amazing. You look at me as a child, I could never speak. They put me in special ed.
Wow.
And they put me into like reading classes and speaking classes.
Wow.
Right now, if I go home and if I read a book on my own, no problem.
Wow.
But reading in front of somebody in class, when they made like kids read in front of class, I'd be like, and how important, oh, my throat hurts. Right? You think of these excuses, right? We have no idea what we're capable of doing. We have no idea.
Figure out what you want to do, make that choice, and do it. And eat
Okay.
5 to 6 small meals a day with protein.
But, that's well put. Figure out what you want to do, and then what do you say? Figure out what you want to do,
And then do it.
and just do it.
Just do it.
Just stop thinking about it, stop talking about it. That's amazing what you said there, because I told him this year for me is all about just getting it done.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. If there's something that you've always wanted to do, just go do it.
Yeah.
That's it. It might work out, it might not, but just do it.
I like it.
Just go ahead and do it. Thank you very much, Sandy. You're awesome.
Fred, great chat.
From your gym bag, I had no idea the wealth of knowledge you had when it came to nutrition and so forth. Like, I've been working in the fitness industry for a long time now, doing training for personal trainers, CanFit Pro, beautiful organization. So I've met a lot of people that are very intelligent when it comes to their industry, when it comes to nutrition and dieting. But I've also met a lot of people that think they know what they're talking about. And in no way am I saying I know what I'm talking about when it comes to that. I don't. I don't make my own decisions when it comes to nutrition. I'll go to an expert when it comes to nutrition. Just like I'll go to an expert when it comes to my accounting or my lawyer. Right? We need to understand that we can't be an expert in everything. Know what you do and just do that. That's
You
it,
know what,
right?
Fred?
And I was very impressed. I want to say I was very impressed with your knowledge when it came to nutrition. Come see Sandy.
Or online.
Or online?
Yeah.
You have an online presence now?
I think www.yourgymbag.com.
Oh, that's like your store's name.
Yourgymbag.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want good food, go to Sarah's house. Well, thank you very much for taking the time.
Cheers,
I
man.
hope this is valuable for you guys. We're going to do more videos with people in their industries. Right? Because I always said, know what you do and just do that, delegate the rest. And that's the same thing. I love giving great content, but I also want to give content from different industries, from people that have actually done what we're trying to talk about. So I hope that was great for you. I had a lot of fun. We had a lot of
Thanks a
fun.
lot, Fred.
Perfect. We're going to do this again.
Cheers. Love to.
Yes. You love me?
No, I would love to.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yes.
loved me.
Well,
I felt
I-
kind of uncomfortable with Sarah there.
I have feelings for you.
You do.
Yes.
What am I supposed to say now? Because I'm on camera.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you.